Hello friends, I am Sanjay Kumar. I am back in front of you with my next lecture of electricity. In today's lecture, we are going to study about Kirchhoff's laws and their application. Dear students, we have two Kirchhoff's laws. First one is Kirchhoff's current law, which is also named as Kirchhoff's junction law. And the second Kirchhoff's law is Kirchhoff's loop law, which is also known as Kirchhoff's voltage law. These two are very important to solve any circuit given to you. So let us start with the first Kirchhoff's law, that is Kirchhoff's current law. According to this law, if we have a junction at which more than two wires are joined, then the algebraic sum of incoming currents at that junction is always equal to the algebraic sum of outgoing currents. For example, we have these five wires joined at junction A. Suppose three of the five wires are taking the current towards the junction, and the incoming currents are I1, I2 and I3, whereas the remaining two wires are taking the current outwards from the junction, and the outgoing currents are I4 and I5. Then, according to Kirchhoff's current law, the algebraic sum of incoming currents is equal to the algebraic sum of outgoing currents. Incoming currents are I1, I2 and I3. Their algebraic sum is I1 plus I2 plus I3. Whereas the outgoing currents are I4 and I5 and their algebraic sum is I4 plus I5. Then according to this law, the sum of these currents is equal to sum of outgoing currents. So that is Kirchhoff's first law. Dear students, this law is based on law of conservation of charge. How this is based on this conservation of charge? Let us see. These are incoming currents. Suppose these are conventional incoming currents. Those are bringing positive charge along with them. It means positive charge is coming towards junction A and positive charge is coming towards junction A from all the incoming currents. So let us assume that total Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 charge is brought towards this junction. But charge cannot be accumulated at a point because it is a point, not a body. It does not have any surface. So charge cannot be accumulated on a point. So this incoming charge, that is Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3, must be moving and it must move from this point. So the whole charge that is coming here must leave this point also. So let us suppose this charge is outgoing charge. Q4 and Q5 are the outgoing charges from point A. Then, according to conservation law of charge, charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. So, charge cannot be accumulated at point A. Therefore, the incoming charges must be equal to outgoing charges. Therefore, this Kirchhoff's current law is basically based on conservation of charge. Okay, let us now move to Kirchhoff's second law. Next we have Kirchhoff's voltage law, or also known as Kirchhoff's loop law. This is Kirchhoff's voltage law. It is also known as Kirchhoff's loop law. Suppose we have a part of a closed circuit. We take a loop, closed loop, in which current is flowing, and there are various elements of the circuit. These are resistance, say a battery, and the connecting wires. Suppose this is a part of a closed circuit. Say this is a loop, and in this loop we have various sources of EMFs and some resistances. Suppose current is flowing in this way. In this direction the current is flowing. Then suppose the EMF of this battery is E, and suppose internal resistance is R. So its internal resistance is R, and I am representing this internal resistance at this point. Say this is internal resistance of this battery, and current is flowing in this direction. Suppose I is the current. Say these resistances are R1, R2 and R3. These are resistances, and we have this closed loop. This closed loop is say A, B, C, D. This is a closed loop. Then according to Kirchhoff's voltage law, if we move in a particular direction in a closed loop, then the algebraic sum of potential drops across the resistances is equal to the EMF in that circuit. It means that the potential drops across these resistances will be equal to the EMF of the battery, EMF present in that circuit. Okay, let us see how many are there potential drops in the circuit. Suppose I is the current. When this current flows through this resistance, then some potential is dropped across this resistance. When current I passes through this resistance, then some potential is developed across the ends of this resistance. Say the potential across this is I into R. According to Ohm's law, the potential drop across any resistance, it is current multiplied by internal resistance. When this current I flows through this resistance, then some voltage is dropped across this resistance also, and say this is I multiplied by R1, and it is positive and negative here, because when current is entering into the resistance, then the potential drop, then this end of the resistance is relatively at higher potential and this is at lower potential. Therefore, I am putting positive sign here and negative sign here. You can remember this rule that if current is entering into some resistance, then the sign of the potential drop at the entry of the resistance will be positive. It means if the current is entering into this resistance, then the sign of the potential drop here at the entry point will be positive, and at the exit point it will be negative. You can also remember this fact in this way that if current is flowing in upward direction, it means that at lower end there is a higher potential and upper end there is a lower potential. So because current always flows from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, now according to the same rule, suppose I current is flowing through this resistance, then some voltage is developed across this resistance also, and that will be I multiplied by R2. In similar fashion, voltage is potential difference is created across this resistance also, and it will be I multiplied by R3. And finally, this is EMF E. So, according to Kirchhoff's voltage law, the algebraic sum of potential drops across resistances and the EMF in a closed loop is always zero. Okay, let we are moving from in the direction A B C D in loop A B C D A. Let us start from point A. Then in while moving in the direction of loop, if there is a positive sign, it means it is a drop of potential. If it is a drop of potential, then put a negative sign. So you write minus IR1, because we are moving from A to B and we are moving in the direction of current. If you are moving in the direction of current, then potential is drop. Then drop in potential is represented by negative sign. Suppose it is minus I into R1. Then move from B to C. Again it is a positive sign. It means it is a drop. You are moving in the direction of current. It means the voltage is drop across this resistance. Then you write I multiply by R2. Again you are moving in the direction of current, then drop of potential, then you multiply I multiplied by R3. Then then you are moving towards battery, and it is a battery, and it is a gain in potential because you are moving from negative to positive, means you are gaining the potential from negative to lower to positive terminal. It means you are gaining potential. Then you write it plus E. Then again in the direction of current there is some loss of potential, so write it as I multiplied by minus I multiplied by R. This is internal resistance of the cell, and that will be equal to 0. So this is the expression according to Kirchhoff's loop law or Kirchhoff's voltage law. So this is very simple rule. While applying this rule, you take care of various signs. If you are moving in the direction of loop, in the direction of current, then the sign of potential drop will be negative. And if you are moving opposite to the direction of current, then the sign of voltage will be positive. So now let us take one example to find current in a closed circuit. Let me have this closed circuit and we want to find out electric current in each branch using Kirchhoff's laws. Suppose we have this resistance of 2 ohm connected with a battery of EMF 2 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm. Suppose we have one more resistance, this one of 1 ohm and one more resistance of 2 ohm connected with another battery, say this one, of internal resistance 1 ohm and EMF 3 volt. You are given this circuit and you want to find out what are electric currents in each branch. Means in this branch, this branch, this branch, what are the electric currents. Now we will use Kirchhoff's laws to find currents in each branch of this circuit. Okay, first of all, according to your convenience, you take the direction of current. Let current in this branch is I1. Let current in this branch is say I2, and current in this branch is say I3. We have assumed the directions of current as per our own convenience. We are not looking on whether they are connected to positive terminal or negative terminal. We are simply taking directions arbitrarily. Okay. Now let us denote these points. Say this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, this is E. These are the junctions and few important points in the circuit. Now to find out currents I1, I2 and I3, first of all I am applying Kirchhoff's current law at junction C. Applying Kirchhoff's current law, junction law at point C, at C. Then according to this law, the sum of incoming currents, the only incoming current here is I1, and this is equal to outgoing currents. There are two outgoing currents from this junction, I2 and I3. So this is first relation according to Kirchhoff's current law at junction C. Now let us apply Kirchhoff's voltage law in loop ABCEA. Applying KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law in ABCEA. Now students, the direction of loop is clockwise, ABCEA. Let us start from A to B. While moving from A to B, there is only connecting wire. There is no other resistance or battery. Therefore, no potential drop is there across this wire. We assume that these connecting wires are of perfect conducting material. Therefore, these conducting wires do not have any resistance. Therefore, there is no potential drop across these connecting wires. So, no potential drop across AB. Now, B to C. You are moving from B to C, and the direction of current is also from B to C. Means the loop direction and the direction of current are same. Therefore, there will be a drop of potential across this 2 ohm resistance. There is drop of potential because while moving in the direction of current, there is some drop of potential across this resistance. So drop of potential is represented by negative sign. How much potential is drop here? Using Ohm's law, multiply this resistance with the current in this resistance. Current I1 is flowing in this resistance. Therefore, the potential drop is using V is equal to IR. You are applying Ohm's law. I is I1 here and R is 2 ohm. Therefore, the potential drop is 2I1. I1 is the current and 2 ohm is the resistance. So, potential drop is 2I1. Why negative sign? Because we are moving in the direction of flow of current, and current flows always from higher to lower potential. Therefore, we are moving in the direction of decreasing potential. That's why I have put negative sign here. Now, from C to E, the loop direction is A, B, C, E, A. We are moving from C to E. While moving from C to E, there is again one more resistor, and we are moving in the direction of flow of current. Therefore, there is a drop of potential, and drop of potential this time is V is equal to IR. There is current I2 in this branch and resistance is 1 ohm. Simply you multiply these two using Ohm's law. V is equal to IR. The drop of potential is resistance multiplied by current. Therefore, it is minus 1 into I2. So, it is I2. I2 potential is dropped across this resistance. Now, the loop direction is E to A. We are moving from E to A. Dear students, there is a cell in this branch and the cell has EMF 2 volt and a resistance of 1 ohm. So, if I represent the internal resistance of 1 ohm in the symbolic form, then this is 1 ohm internal resistance. Then some potential is dropped across this 1 ohm resistance also. This is the internal resistance of this battery. So, how much is the drop of potential? We are moving in the direction of current. Look at this. We are moving from E to A and the direction of current is also in this way. Therefore, drop of potential means negative sign. Current in this resistance is I1. This is the current flowing through this resistance I1. So, drop of potential is 1 I1. It means it is I1. Now we have a battery and we are moving from lower potential to higher potential. So, you are moving in a direction from lower to higher potential. It means there is a gain of potential, and gain of potential is represented by positive sign. It is plus 2 EMF of the cell. Now the circuit is loop is completed. Therefore, you equate it to 0. So this is the result of applying Kirchhoff's voltage law in this loop A, B, C, E, A. You can simplify this. It is minus 3I1 minus I2 is equal to minus 2. If you simplify taking minus common, you get this 3I1 plus I2 is equal to 2. Say this is number 1 equation. So this is equation number 1. Now applying Kirchhoff's voltage law in this loop. Applying KVL in Kirchhoff's voltage law in CDEC. In this loop, CDEC, this is the loop, okay, moving in this direction C to D. We are moving in direction C to D and there is a resistance and we are moving in the direction of current. So, in the direction of current is from higher to lower potential. Therefore, there is a drop of potential and drop of potential is represented by negative sign. Therefore, drop of potential, it is minus 2 into I3. The current is I3, resistance is 2 ohm, V is equal to IR, multiply these two, 2 into I3. This is the drop of potential. Okay. Now from D to E, there is a battery and it has internal resistance of 1 ohm. So if you put this resistance in the symbolic form, then this is 1 ohm internal resistance. Therefore, now there is a drop of potential across this 1 ohm resistance also. This current I3 is flowing in this resistance and the loop direction is in the direction of current. Therefore, it is a drop of potential and drop of potential is 1 into I3. So, it is minus I3. Now, there is a battery and it gives a rise in potential because this is negative, this is positive. You are moving from lower to higher potential. It means there is a gain in potential. So, it is plus 3. Now, you have come back to point this is C, D. We started from C. So now moving from E to C, we are moving from E to C. Okay, we are moving, the direction of loop is from E to C, but the direction of current is CE, means we are moving opposite to the direction of current in this branch. Therefore, there will be a gain in potential, because current flows from higher to lower potential. It means potential is higher at this point and lower at this point, and we are moving opposite to this, means we are moving in the direction from lower to higher potential. Therefore, it will be a gain in potential. So gain in potential represented by positive sign, it is 1 into I2. So it is I2. Now we moved back to point C, therefore we can equate it to 0. Now you simplify this equation. So this is minus 3I3 plus I2 is equal to minus 3. We have one more equation, I1 is equal to I2 plus I3. If you put I2 is equal to I1 minus I3, say this is equation number 3. Now you have obtained 3 equations. Equation number 1, equation number 2, equation number 3. So these are 3 variables, I1, I2 and I3, and 3 equations. Using substitution method, you can decrease the number of variables to 2. If you put I1 is equal to I2 plus I3 from equation number 1 to equation number 2, say this is equation number 2. If you replace I1 is equal to I2 plus I3, then you can eliminate this variable I1. So using equation 1 in equation 2, we get, what we get, you replace I1 by I2 plus I3. We obtain 3 into I2 plus I3 plus I2 is equal to 2. You simplify this, 3I2 plus I2, it is 4I2 plus 3I3 is equal to 2. So this is equation number 4. So equation number 3 and equation number 4 are in 2 variables. This is also in 2 variable I2, I3. This is also in 2 variables I2, I3. So now you solve these 2 equations which are in 2 variables. These are linear equations. Then you can obtain the value of I2 and I3. We have many methods. We have method of substitution, method of elimination, method of cross multiplication. You can use any one of these and get the value of I2 and I3. These methods you have already studied in your class 10th. So we are using substitution method, or we are using elimination method here. The coefficient of I3, it is minus 3 in this equation and it is plus 3 in this equation. So if I simply add these 2 equations, then I can eliminate I3 here. So adding third and fourth equations, we get, if we add this into this, so left hand side we get 4I2 plus I2, we get 5I2, and on right hand side we get 2 minus 3, it is minus 1. So we get this much. This is minus 3I3, this is plus 3I3. On adding these cancels, 4I2 plus I2, 5I2, 2 minus 3 minus 1. So on simplification you get I2 is equal to minus 1 upon 5 ampere. So this is the value of I2. Now you use the value of I2 in equation, say in equation number 3, then you can get the value of I3. You use I2 in equation number 3, then get the value of I3. It is minus I3 plus I2 is minus 1 upon 5 is equal to minus 3. You put the value of I2 here. Now you can obtain the value of I3 from this equation. Upon solving, you get minus 3I3 is equal minus 3 plus 1 by 5. Taking LCM, you get it minus 14 upon 5. And if you solve this, you get I2 is equal to 14 over 15 ampere. So this is the value of I2. You obtained, sorry, I3. This is the value of I3. You obtained the value of I3. You have I2 now, you have I3. So using equation number 1, you can calculate the value of I1. Using I2 and I3 in equation 1, we get I1 is equal to I2 we have minus 1 upon 5, I3 we have 14 upon 15. So if you simplify these, you get 11 by 15 ampere. So this is the value of I1. So these are the three currents that are flowing in three branches. Here the current is 11 by 15 ampere in this direction. In this branch, the current is minus 1 upon 5. What is the meaning of minus sign here? It means that current is not from C to E. Actually, the current is from E to C, because we are getting negative current. Negative current means the direction of current is reverse to what we have imagined. We have assumed that current is from C to E, but actually the current is from E to C because it is negative here. Okay. And the current in this branch is I3 is equal to 14 upon 15 ampere. So using Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law, you can solve any circuit given to you. Now I am giving you one question for exercise. You solve this question and tell me what are the values of current in different branches. You have this cell of EMF 1 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm, and one more cell you have EMF 2 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm. You connected these two cells with an external resistance of 1 ohm and a battery of EMF 3 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm. So you tell me what are the values of currents in these branches. Tell me the values of currents in different branches. Solve this circuit. So this is a question for you. You solve this and tell me the answer in comment box. So let us move to the next topic. So this topic, Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law, is over. You can use these topics to solve different circuits given to you. Next topic we have Wheatstone bridge principle. First we have Wheatstone bridge. If you are given 4 resistances, these are P, Q, R, S. These are 4 resistances, say, and these points are, say, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Okay, these are the points. Suppose these 4 resistances, first of all, these 4 resistances make Wheatstone bridge. This arrangement is known as Wheatstone bridge. Okay, there is one principle related to Wheatstone bridge, that is known as Wheatstone bridge principle. According to this principle, if these resistances are in this ratio, if P upon Q is equal to S upon R, if this ratio is satisfied, P upon Q is equal to S upon R, then these points B and D are at same potential. Then potential at B is equal to potential at D. Then these points would be at same potential. You may have connected any battery with this circuit. Any battery of any EMF you may connect here, and you will get that if these resistances are in this ratio P by Q is equal to S upon R, then these 2 points are at same potential always. Potential at B is equal to potential at D. It means there is no potential difference between these 2 points. This implies that potential difference between B and D points is 0. And if potential difference is 0, then if there is any resistance connected in between these 2 points, suppose we have one more resistance connected and say it is Z, then no current will flow in this circuit. Then current through this branch will be 0. This implies that IZ will be 0 because there is no potential difference here across these 2 points B and D. No potential difference means current will not flow. So if there is any resistance in between these 2 points, then current will not flow. So even if there is this resistance, and if there is resistance is not present here, then both the situations are identical. So if there is a resistance and these resistances are in this ratio P by Q is equal to S by R, then you can remove the resistance present here. You can remove this resistance from here because potentials are same at B and D, therefore no role of this resistance is here because no current can flow between these 2 points. Okay, so this is Wheatstone-Bridge principle. According to this principle, if these 4 resistances obtain this ratio P by Q is equal to S by R, then potentials at B and D are equal. So therefore potential difference between these 2 points will be 0. So if there is any resistance in between these 2 points, then current will not flow between these 2 points. Okay, this is the Wheatstone-Bridge principle. Now we are going to prove this principle. We are going to prove. I want to give proof of this principle. So to prove this, I am assuming that I have connected a battery here of EMF E and internal resistance say R. This is internal resistance R. And there is a resistance Z here. G is the resistance here. I am assuming that current through this branch is I1. This current is divided into 2 parts. Say this is I2 and this is, using Kirchhoff's voltage law, we know that incoming current is equal to outgoing currents. Therefore this I1 is divided into 2 parts. So if this is I2, then definitely the current through this branch will be I1 minus I2. So I1 minus I2 current is flowing through resistance S. Okay, this I2 is flowing through this resistance P. Now let us assume that current again divides at this junction. I3 current flows through this. I3 current flows through this resistance Z and remaining current flows through this resistance Q. Remaining current is I2 minus I3. Because incoming current is divided into 2 parts. This is I2, I3, then this will be I2 minus I3. Because I2 is coming, I3 is subtracted, then it will be I2 minus I3. So I2 minus I3 current arrives here, and I3 current is coming from this direction. I1 minus I2 current is coming from this direction. These 2 currents are added, and the total current, sum of these, I1 minus I2 plus I3 flows through this resistance R, and the total current will be I1. Sum of these 2 currents, you can add these 2 currents, I2 minus I3 with this current, you will get I1. I1 flows through this resistance. So this is the circuit. I have assumed the direction of current. So to solve this circuit, let us first take 2 loops. Applying Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL in A, B, D, A. I am applying in this A, B, D, A in this loop. From A to B, I am moving in the direction of current. Current is in this direction, therefore there will be a loss of potential. So drop of potential is represented by negative sign. It will be a drop of potential means negative. But resistance multiplied by current, resistance is P and current is I2. So this is drop in potential from A to B. Now from B to G, again we are moving in the direction of current, therefore there is a loss of potential. So again it is a negative sign, and drop of potential is G into I3 because I3 current is flowing. And now from D to A, I am moving opposite to the direction of current. The direction of the loop is from D to A, but direction of current is from A to D. So they are in opposite direction, therefore there will be a gain in potential, and gain in potential will be current multiplied by resistance S into I1 minus I2. So you can equate this to 0 because you reach to the initial point A. You can simplify this equation, you get it, or you simply allow this as it is. Say this is equation number 1. Now you apply Kirchhoff voltage law in another loop. Apply KVL in BCDB. BCDB. So this is the direction of loop now. From B to C, you are moving in the direction of current. Therefore, there is a drop of potential. And drop of potential will be equal to resistance multiplied by current minus Q into I2 minus I3. Now from C to D, you are moving from C to D, and this is a direction opposite to the current. Therefore, there will be a gain in potential. Gain in potential is positive, and positive potential will be resistance multiplied by current. This will be R multiplied by I1 minus I2 plus I3. Now from D to B, again there is a gain in potential and it is positive. This will be plus G into I3 is equal to 0. So this is equation number 2. You obtain these two equations by applying Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now we have assumed that to prove Wheatstone-Bridge principle, which states that if these resistances are in ratio P by Q equal to R by S, then these 2 points are at same potential. So I am taking converse of this principle. I am assuming that these 2 points are at same potential, then this current I3 will be 0. I am assuming this. So let I3 is equal to 0, means these are at same potential. We have assumed that potential at B is equal to potential at D. I am assuming that this current is 0. Then I want to obtain this relation P by Q is equal to S by R. Okay. If I put let I3 is equal to 0, then equation 1 and 2 reduces to, equation 1 reduces to, you put I3 is equal to 0, we get minus P into I2 plus S into I1 minus I2 is equal to 0. You simplify this, you can take P into I2 to that side. Pi2 is equal to Si1 minus I2, say equation number 3. Now equation number 2 reduces to, you put I3 is equal to 0 in this relation, you get minus Q into I2 plus R into I1 minus I2 is equal to 0. You have put I3 is equal to 0. So you take this QI2 to that direction, you get Q into I2 is equal to R into I1 minus I2. So this is equation number 4. Now these are the equations we get. Now you divide these equations. You divide left hand sides and divide right hand sides of equation 3 and 4 using equations 3rd and 4th. There is Pi2, here is it is Qi2. You divide these two. So you get P by Q. And on right hand side, it is S into I1 minus I2, and here it is R into I1 minus I2. So if you divide, you get S divided by R. So you have assumed that I3 is equal to 0, means no current is there in this branch, and you have obtained this relation. So this is the converse of the principle, Wheatstone-Bridge principle. So this is the proof also. So we have proved in this way. Okay, I think this is clear to you. You can watch this video again and learn how to prove this Wheatstone-Bridge principle. This is very important principle because it reduces a complex circuit to the very simple one. Okay, let us see what are the applications of this Wheatstone-Bridge principle. Suppose you are given 4 resistances. Suppose you are given 5 resistances and a battery with some internal resistance. Suppose you have 5 volt, 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 6 ohm and 8 ohm. And you want to find out current in each branch. Then you simply see that this looks like a Wheatstone bridge, and suppose this is the resistance P, this is Q, this is R, S, this is R, and you see what is the ratio. Here the ratio is 2 divided by 4, and here the ratio is 3 divided by 6. So these ratios are equal. Ratio of 2 and 4 is equal to ratio of 3 and 6. It means this Wheatstone bridge is in balanced condition. Balanced means this principle is applicable. So if this principle is applicable, then usually we say that Wheatstone bridge is in balanced condition. In that situation, these 2 points would be at same potentials, and the current in this branch will be 0. So you can simply remove this branch. So you can remove this 8 ohm resistance between these 2 points. Now the circuit is very simple one. Now these 2 resistances are in series, and these 2 resistances are in series. Now you solve the series combination. 2 plus 2 and 4, the series combination of 2 and 4, it gives 6 ohm. And the series combination of 3 and 6, it gives 9 ohm. So this is a very simple circuit now. And this is a parallel combination of 6 and 9. The parallel combination of 6 and 9 gives you the resistance. Suppose this combination is equivalent to resistance R, then this R will be 6 into 9 divided by 6 plus 9. It will be 54 divided by 15. You can cancel with 3. It will be 18 divided by 5. So this arrangement is equivalent to a resistance 18 upon 5. And now you have a battery and an internal resistance of 1 ohm. The battery has EMF 5. So now this is a series combination of 18 by 5 and 1 ohm. So you simply add these 2 resistances and you can find the value of current. This current can be obtained from the circuit. So this current will be then divided into 2 parts, which you can solve easily. So this is the method of applying Kirchhoff's voltage laws and Wheatstone bridge principle to solve simple numericals. Suppose sometimes the Wheatstone bridge is not in balanced situation. Then what will you do to find the currents in different branches? Suppose you get a Wheatstone bridge like this, 2 ohm, 3 ohm. Here you have 4 ohm and here you have 10 ohm. This is also a Wheatstone bridge, but this is not in balanced situation. This is 5 volt battery with an internal resistance of 1 ohm. This is Wheatstone bridge but not in balanced situation, because this ratio 2 by 3 ratio of these 2 resistances is not equal to this ratio 4 upon 10. These ratios are not equal. Here you have 2 upon 5 and here you have 2 by 3. These ratios are not equal. It means that this is not in balanced situation. Wheatstone bridge is not balanced. And if it is not balanced, then you cannot remove this 5 ohm resistance from here. You cannot remove, it means some current is flowing through this branch also. In that case, you will have to apply Kirchhoff's voltage laws, Kirchhoff's current law to solve this circuit. Then you will have to assume that current I1 is flowing here. This I1 is divided into 2 parts, I2 and I1 minus I2. This current is further divided into 2 parts. Here suppose you have I3 and in this you have I2 minus I3, and here I3 and I1 minus I2 joins to become I1 minus I2 plus I3, and finally the current is I1. So now you apply Kirchhoff's voltage laws in different loops. In this loop, then you get the equations and solve. So we will solve this circuit in the next lecture. Till then, thank you very much.